and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yeah, and we are here to talk to our old friend, Ben Miller. You've been on a few times, so we're excited to have you back.
I have been. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Let's just start by asking, hey, Ben, where are you these days?
Right now, I'm actually in Northeast Minneapolis. I'm staying at my brother's place, but I live in Brooklyn. So I'm back until after Labor Day here.
Oh, nice. Have you been here most of the summer?
No, I was here. I was back for 2 weeks in July. And then during that, we drove out to Montana to play at a really cool festival. And then I just flew back last week and we played down in Mankato.
Nice. You have a full calendar coming up of playing.
Yeah, we're playing Thursday, the 26th of August here at Omni Brewing in Maple Grove, and then down in Pine Island at the Old Pine Theater on the 28th this Saturday. And those are Federale shows, I should mention.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, we could talk about both your solo and the Federalist, but I want to make sure while we're talking about shows, I see that you were playing up on the North Shore over Labor Day weekend, and I know that's always fun. So
we are. We're back at the Gunflint Tavern in Grand Marais over Labor Day weekend, that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and those are super fun. So if anybody's up there or gonna be up on the North Shore, come hang out with us. We do 3 sets every night, and just have a grand old time. It's a patio with like a big garage door open along the whole thing, so it's kind of it's mostly outdoors the whole time unless it rains. And our friend Chris Holm, who has been up there with us a few times playing bass to fill in, is going to be up there. Our regular Federalist bass player, Andy Schuster, is going to be there. So Chris is going to play like kind of an opening set, I think, each night, and then sit in and jam, and we'll kind of do what we usually do, just hang out and have some fun. We get a lot of like super fun song requests up there, so we'll go learn them real quick and play those in the next set, that sort of thing.
Is it more like Stump the Chump? Can you request anything?
Pretty much. We had like a lot of times people will be like, well, we'll give you a gigantic tip if you play a Doors song. We're like, okay, we'll be back.
Never say no to the dollar. I was like, I wonder if you would put it on your social media, like if you're up there or you have a song request, because then you'd have it ahead of time too.
That is a good point. Usually, and even if people don't promise to pay us, we'll learn anything. I always enjoy that. That's like how I've learned, half of the cover songs I know is through doing stuff like that. So,
well, speaking of cover songs, you've done the cover, which I kind of love your version of it.
The Lou Reed song?
Yeah.
So for some reason, a little backstory. I sent y'all. Actually, if I should make that public, maybe you can link it or something. This is like 10. When was this? 2009 or so. I played in a glam rock band with a bunch of friends in Milwaukee, and we played just sort of like a full-on cover band set of like David Bowie and T-Rex and Roxy Music and Sweet and what else? Slade, all kinds of stuff. Lou Reed and a bunch of things. We played a bunch of shows over there, so I drive over there every so often and play on the weekends. And so that sort of, I always love Mick Ronson's guitar playing, David Bowie's guitar player. He actually played guitar in like my favorite Bob Dylan tour, the 1975, the Rolling Thunder tour. And that's sort of what I got into in his guitar playing. So then the glam band experience, I got way more into like glam rock guitar and stuff like that. And so a couple of years ago, I got super obsessed with listening to David Bowie's cover of White Light, White Heat. It's on a BBC compilation. You can go find it, also with Mick Ronson playing guitar. And I was like, I should cover this. This would be fun to do as an Americana semi-country song. So we went to the Pearl in Northeast, where we recorded a bunch of Federalist things, and knocked that out in a night.
So it wasn't you had all the special guests in there at.
Yeah. So what we did was actually, I think maybe it was 2 nights. We went in the first night and did the main track with like all the instruments and everything. And then I think Ben Cook-Phelps was playing drums, and he did the Rhodes, the electric piano that night. And then the next night I came back and did vocals, and we had Haley Rydell played fiddle that night, and then Rachel Hansen came in and did. But we all stood around and did like big gang vocals for those backing vocals that night.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it was not all 100% live, but basically live in 2 chunks.
Okay. My brain had you at like some big ballroom and you just were filled the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was like, ooh. I love the violin and your harmonica in the song too. I love your vocals too. It's different, and I don't know what exactly I'm drawn to, but I'm just like, you got a little swagger on this one.
Yeah, it's like a little bit funkier than a Federale song or something. Yeah, in a different way.
It's the vocals made me think of Southern Culture on the Skids, which is bar none my favorite band in the world. Present company accepted. But but when I listen to it, it's like, oh, that sounds like Scott's. That sounds
nice.
It's kind of a funky country.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you have been challenging yourself between the loonies and the random way you've done the music, doing the covers, and then the Federales. I think when you spoke to us, you were talking about analog, like one and done or whatever. Like, is this just going to keep continuing, or what? Yeah. Tell us about that, I guess.
I hope it does. I think last time we were on, we were talking maybe about, we did some remote recording, like you said, with the Loonies. We were kind of doing the project where we were just bouncing tracks back and forth, kind of random, in a random order, and everybody would just have to add the next thing. And that was sort of our project for last year with all the remote recording that had to happen. And I've been doing a lot of remote recording on my own, just sort of like figuring things out and teaching myself how to record guitars at home, record vocals at home and stuff like that. So I have a bunch of songs that are sort of stacked up that now I need to go back in and get real drums added and finish off a few things. And so that's sort of what I'm doing right now.
How about, will you be, now that we said you're going to be up in Grand Marais, you had spoke about a song that was called Grand Marais at the time, but I don't know if it's still that. Will you be performing that one?
We might. I think it's still called Grand Marais. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I have on my list of things to do while I'm back. It's been sort of moving back every so often throughout the summer. I have to do a bunch of demos of all these new songs that I've been writing and send them out to the band and see if there are any of that sort of hit as ones we should work into the set.
Okay. That would be fun. Do you have ones that you want them to pick, or is it one of those where presenting your babies?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, maybe I'll work harder on those. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it is kind of like, I mean, I have a giant notebook and just a giant like lyrics folder on my computer full of songs. Last September, I tried to do like write a song every day in September sort of thing. So I have a bunch from that, and I just have like a bunch that have sort of been knocking around since last March or last January. So I think partially I'll probably just like record as many demos as I can just so people can hear them all, and then hopefully like find some that we all enjoy doing. And then if those, if there's ones that's kind of what I've been doing lately too, is if there's ones that don't seem like they fit for Federale stuff, maybe see if I can sort of rework them as a solo kind of thing.
Well, because try to think recent singles, single, solo single. I love that, but that has a very psychedelic feel.
Yeah, that was kind of in that vein of like, this turned out super cool, but I kind of actually that one I just wanted to do on my own, just as an experiment, just to see if I could finish it off mostly myself. And I had Hema, who's great. I think we talked about this too, but a great singer and apparently flute player. She was learning flute on Instagram, so I hit her up to add some stuff. And then our drummer Mark from the Federales, and he plays in the Loonies, he plays occasionally in the Fat and Frogs, he plays all over. He was working on getting his drum recording set up at home going, so I thought that might be a good reason to record some drums.
Well, and I love the video for that.
Oh yeah, that was my friend Laura, who originally from Minneapolis, and she used to run a really or helped out. I think she took it over. She was maybe like an intern or something, but then she took it over this great music blog called Minneapolis Fucking Rocks. That was around for a while, and she did a bunch of other music stuff here. Now she's out in LA and she does some video production things. And she had I think a free couple of weeks right as that song was coming out, and she's like, "I want to make something cool and fun. So do you have anything in the works?" And I was like, "Well, actually, I actually do right now." So
yeah, just there for folks who haven't seen it yet, and we'll post a link to it. there is a Wizard of Oz-esque move to animation.
Yep.
Which it's so perfectly timed in the song.
Yeah. When she came up with that idea, I sent her, actually, there's a Sarah Watkins video. Sarah Watkins just put out a sort of a kids album. I think adults would enjoy it too. But they're sort of like lullabies and other like kid-friendly songs. And she had a couple of videos that were in that same kind of like stop motion animation. So I sent Laura one of those as an example, and she was like, "Oh, I love this." And then she sent me some mock-ups of there's like little animal critters and some dancing mushrooms and stuff like that she overlaid on some video that I shot of myself in my living room.
Yeah, it's just perfect. I enjoyed that so much. And then you have a video that just came out with the Federalist, Thanks for the Broken Heart.
Yes, which was super. We recorded a bunch of songs at the Pearl in Northeast 2 years ago, I think like May 2019, and we were sort of intending to get them ready to go, and then things happened, obviously, so we never got back to those. And then a couple months ago, when we were getting ready to play these summer shows, I was like, "Oh, we should take a listen to those, because that would be an easy way to have like another new song out." And we had our friend Josie Spry, who is just like a video genius, and has shot some other stuff that we've used for other things before. She was there and just filmed the whole session like all in one take. Whenever we go through those live takes, she'd just kind of like circle around the studio and just get us as we're playing it. It turned out really, really, really great. She's really good. So I really wanted to use one of those, and luckily this one we managed to whip up into a new Federale single.
It has that nice behind the scenes feel.
Yeah. I love those. Like, I know Vulpec does those videos, which I really, really love, where they just have like a person there hanging out, just filming them as they play in the studio. So I've always wanted to do one of those. So that's why we started having Josie come hang out when we were recording.
Yeah. Perfect.
Can you talk about the song a little bit too?
Yeah. So that song I originally wrote as kind of like an Ernest Tubb country song, with that kind of like, thanks a lot, which I love that. I love Ernest Tubb. And so I was trying to emulate that, but for some reason when we went to record, like the week before, I just got the verve to like rework this. And actually, like fittingly, it was sort of supposed to be like a Rolling Stones kind of groove. So I'll just mention that Charlie Watts just died today. Is like one of my favorite parts about the Stones was just that kind of cool groove that he would lay behind everything, when Keith Richards would have one of those kind of like chunky open string riffs, which this song is based on. And the lyrics were, I can't remember exactly where I got the idea for this. I think it was just like I had the idea for the title. But it's sort of about like when you have a breakup that initially you're sort of like super bummed about it, but then after a while you realize that it was like a better thing for everybody involved. Like, you know, you like learn some things about yourself, and you know, it made you a better person, and hopefully the other person a better person. You know, hopefully they're doing what they want.
You and I approach that sort of thing differently. I'm just gonna say, but that's awesome. That's an awesome way to think of it. That's awesome.
Hey, everybody's got to do it. They got to do their own thing.
Yeah. No, I like that angle of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a song to learn from for me.
Me too, but like, yeah.
Don't worry, I'll sing it to you.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll start singing.
There you go.
I'll be like Ben said.
Yeah, exactly.
Since you have said you've started, or in September you wrote a boatload of songs, are because I noticed this one did not have your beer or liquor, which we had spoke of. I was like, oh, but you did have a little sad, but good. So I was like, he's been challenging himself doing all these things. I'm wondering if he's talking about different things. I don't know. Where's he going to lead us to now?
That's actually part of it. Like, just if people probably, I'm sure nobody else knows this story, but like our other singer, Carl, his wife once mentioned that like all of my songs have something bad that happens and there's some sort of liquor involved, which I thought was hilarious because it's true. Because those like barroom songs are super fun to write, and it's like an easy way to start off. Like, well, I did something horrible because I was hungover, or like. So that was part of it. Was I was like, what if I just wrote about things that were horrible and bad or fun that didn't involve alcohol? So, and one of those was actually this was part of the September batch, which I think Heather, you maybe commented on when I did one of those new songs sets that it's called Heartbreak City, and I think that one is almost finished. I just have to get drums added on it, so that might be like in the next batch that comes out.
Oh, I can't wait. Because I've noticed too, when you were talking to us before too, it seems like you always have a story like through a character. So if you like are uber aware of your surroundings or people in your life and you're like, okay, I'm going to do that. Or I just find it super interesting how you tell a story or whatever, just character building. Is that usually how you go about it too?
That's not how I start or how I started. But I think that's what I've been trying to focus on more, just because like I think those are the songs that people actually respond to, even though I like occasionally writing songs that are kind of like try to think is like not, I don't think necessarily like that. And that I think maybe some people didn't connect to it as much, which I don't think is a bad thing, but like I like my songs when they are sort of story based, like you said. So I've been trying to find ways to force myself to do that. Like the Arkansas song is like a good example of that. Like I love how that came out because that was based on an actual thing that happened to me. That I sort of tweaked just a little bit, but I'm trying to find more stories like that, either in my own life or just things I encounter that I can sort of extrapolate into a story. And I know Raina Del Cid, who you know, is really good at, I think, mining those sort of experiences. And so that was something that was inspiring to me.
I was going to say, yeah, you get more invested or it's more detailed rather than so broad where it's just, you get lost. Yeah. And you do a very good job, and just from your daily interactions and your work, I'm like, you got to have some good stuff.
Yeah. Well, that was like the hardest songwriting thing about the past year or so is that, or at least for me, is that I wasn't interacting with new people. So like a lot of my songs would start to be about, myself sitting at home. Like there's like a lot in that batch that I'm talking about are like sort of just like describing the experience of being stuck at home or like sort of like figuring out what's going on with the world, which is why I think a lot of them will probably just remain in the notebook, maybe get edited for a down to a smaller version later. But yeah, I really do prefer the songs that are sort of like based in like running into people out in the real world and just like as you travel and that sort of thing.
I was going to say it might be very connective though too, of the alone sitting on the couch. Everyone's like, oh my God, you get me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I was screaming this song too.
I was kind of imagining that's what like all the songs that came out this summer and for the rest of the year would be about. But then it looked like things were starting to open back up again and maybe people can like get out, but who knows? I'm sure there's still like a big, huge archive of like indoor songs that musicians are working on.
Songs built on Netflix shows.
Yeah, exactly.
And toilet paper shortages,
I actually got an idea from a Netflix show. It's we play live, which we recorded but hasn't been released yet. It's called Tell a Few Lies. I think it was from like a Netflix cooking show where like they were out like on a someone's backyard or like property and they're like about to do like a pig roast, like. And somebody said like, all right, well, we're going to let this thing cook and we're going to go drink a few beers and tell a few lies. And I was like, oh, yes.
Nice.
Oh, see, that reminds me because you said something like semi-truth or something of your truck driver guy. Lie. So, woo. Okay, sorry.
I think, well, that I feel like a lot of songwriters talk about that, where it's like they'll get these little nuggets of things that are either from their, especially if they're from their own life, but then they sort of get exploded into fiction most of the time. So it's hard to tell, like, that song's not actually about me, even though it was based on like one 5-minute thing that happened to me, but it sort of got extrapolated into fiction or just like a bigger musing on that moment.
More interesting.
The legit way to do it. And I think that's probably how people write. Yeah,
I think so.
Write books.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, poetry, anything, you take a moment and then
and go from there.
Mm-hmm. Take it from there. Yeah, you are super busy, because another thing I wanted to ask you is, I know you've got a song on the Strange Medicine, so maybe I'll ask you to talk a little bit about it. You've already mentioned Chris Holm, so
so Chris Holm is a fantastic musician, one of our good friends in Federales and just in all kinds of other things. His sister Jamie was also a really fantastic musician and songwriter who played in Sick of Sarah, and I believe they had a band together called Hazel Strange, and a few other projects that they worked on together. Mark, our drummer, played with them. James, our guitarist, played with them at a certain point. And Jamie passed away earlier this year. And one project that Chris was working on was he rounded up a bunch of the demos. It's like just an amazing idea. I think it's so cool what he did. He rounded up a bunch of the demos they made together, and he had other musicians in Minneapolis and friends of his sort of take those and run with them and turn them into new songs. And he was playing them for her, just showing what people came up with. So I grabbed one called Dead of Winter. It just had this really cool, the lyrics are super cool. And there's like this really cool guitar riff going that I wanted to use. So I grabbed that one, and it took a while to sort of get everything pieced together. But that came out, I think, about a month ago. He finally got the first round of the compilation done. And I think he's got another 10 in the works. Wow. And they all turned out really awesome. Yeah, it's super cool. I can't recommend it enough.
And you did that with Faith
yes. Poplin. Yeah, so I wanted this to be a duet, and I was trying to figure out who to have to do it. And I met Faith. Oh, actually, they're doing the Shania thing this weekend. That's when I met her for the first time.
Are you going to that too?
I think so. Yeah, we were trying to get a Federale show booked, but did not manage to. So I probably will be there. So I played just like some background acoustic guitar on the very first one they did 2 years ago. And we were sort of like trapped in a vestibule at an apartment trying to get in for a rehearsal. That's where I met Faith. And so I asked her to do it. And she actually, I was thinking about talking about this today. So I'm glad you reminded me that like I sent her like the song was all done, but my vocals were not done. And it was just like the worst vocal demo, but I just needed to get it done. So I was like, here, don't listen to the vocals too much. Just here's the song. Like, and she took it and like added, like she like sang the whole melody and added like 2 harmonies and like this really super cool humming part in the bridge, and just like totally redid the vocals. And so all I did was just like basically copy what she did in a couple of parts and insert myself there for the duet. And it turned out really great. So
yeah, it sounds great. It's fun to hear about the project. We got a chance to talk with Jamie and Chris when they were working on the Quarantine Dream.
Yeah, and I think that's what sort of inspired Chris to do this project for Jamie.
Well, and I think that getting musicians to work together, that's why I'm so glad too that it was a collaboration, because I think that was a huge piece of it, was working with people that you may or may not have worked with otherwise. Yep. And I'm thinking that's one of the silver linings of all of us being confined for a year, is we found ways to work together, especially, and it's a gift to us music fans to hear different combinations.
Yeah. Well, we talked about silver linings a little bit last year when we were talking about sort of the like learning, sort of like pushing yourself to work on recording and writing and stuff at home. But I think, they're like the song with Hema and the song with Faith, like I don't think I would have ever had never would have thought to have them do something like that other than if I had been stuck at home and couldn't like record other vocals, like it was just nice to like have that remote collaboration in some way.
Well, and in a weird way, the distance between Minnesota and New York has been shortened so much because now everybody knows how to use the tools.
Yep. Yeah, so it makes it easier, like especially like I came back actually when I was back in July. I had a few of these songs that are sort of in half finished form, and went back to the new location of the Pearl and did a bunch of drum recording and stuff like that. So it was a nice way to sort of still have that connection with all the people that I work with here, but do some of the work ahead of time out there. It's
obviously it's tough to being in person, know, but we really liked when you would come to the studios and we would get to hear you play live, and we were the luckiest people in the world. Private concerts, it was just so much.
I love those. Yeah.
But it does keep us connected in a way that wouldn't otherwise work. It'd be hard to arrange some of that. So that's
and it just gives me more reasons to come back here. So.
That's good. In between all of the work that you're doing, because what's nice is you have so many different buckets to put your work into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of worried that they're like too many weird, like all these songs that I'm doing are like sort of not connected by, like almost not connected by like what they sound like, which I find a little bit worrying, but I think in the end they'll probably sort of have some sort of connection. I can find some way to connect it, they'll be on an album together or something like that. But like, yeah, like it was sort of just like following things that I find interesting to try recording or try to write things like that are a little bit different. And hopefully they don't seem too disconnected in the end.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it not being connected. I kind of like that. Just because you have branched out in so many ways with musically this year, I think that would be kind of cool to hear that in an album too.
Yeah, I kind of like to hear the progression. Yeah, I think that'd be that's actually, like, now that I think about it, that's kind of not necessarily like chronologically, but like sort of arranging an album like based around that idea of like demonstrating a progression or an evolution. How
are the keys coming along?
They're doing all right. I tried adding some sort of like Hammond B3 type stuff on one of these new songs that I'm working on, and I'm debating whether or not it's good enough. I might just have to like get somebody that actually knows what they're doing to do it, but they're doing all right.
But now that you're kind of toying with that a little bit, is it influencing more of your writing too? Like, ooh, I want to put this there, just that way?
Yeah, a little bit, and that's why I found like this one in particular was a little bit. I was like limited because I was like, I really want to do it myself, but when I actually like sat down to do it, I just could not quite get the exact sound that I wanted. So that's why I was like, well, maybe in this case, like I can like get a real keyboard professional to handle this, and I'll stick to stringed instruments or whatever.
Or you'll do it live, whatever. Yep. Not recorded at this moment.
Yep. I am vowing that I will like give it at least one more try on this one and see if it works out.
Nice. Will you do your song? Well, I suppose in what is it? The one for Jamie. Will you throw that one in, Grand Marais too?
We might actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Since Fritz is there, it might be worth trying out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not going to have, we were pondering, somebody sent us an invitation to do a show with Faith like in September or October, which I think the dates didn't work out, but I was like, oh, that'd be perfect because we just did this song, and it'd be fun to actually do that live and see if we can make that whole song.
I was going to say, tell her to head up to Grand Marais. Give people preview, whatever. Be kind of fun.
That's a long way to go to sing one song.
I'm sure she would be game. She's a woodsy. Give her some of that beer you're talking about, or the whiskey. She's there. Or on Friday with Shania. Shania might beat you up, but you could do a grand finale or something.
Yeah. Well, actually, I saw Seth and Faith at the entry in July, and they were like, just come by and play. You can like, and I think Doc is gonna play acoustic for that show. They Self is gonna is playing acoustic guitar for that show, and they're like, just come use Doc's guitar, and I was like, no, it's a reverse guitar. I can't play that. And they're like, oh, well, just come and watch then. So I might just come and have fun, like just enjoy a show.
I did think of you, yeah, because you were like you said, you played the very first one, so I knew you were around. So I was like, ooh, I wonder if he will come. So yeah, yay.
Yeah, that'll be good. That's a good time. It'll be nice to see it from out in the audience and not being nervous on stage trying to read my charts that I had on the floor.
Get the readers out.
Yeah, it was dark, and I know occasionally I would write charts, and musicians will have like horror stories of like writing charts in like blue pen or like red pen or something like that, just this, like what they had on hand, and they get to the show and then like all the lights for the whole show are red, so they're just like looking at a blank sheet of paper. It would be horrendous.
That's sweaty armpits there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's luckily, no, you can enjoy it from the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I will give a nice nod to them because they are donating $1 for every ticket sold to the Women's March.
Oh,
Women's
nice.
March, Minnesota. So I thank them for that. That's very kind.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's good. We'll get to say. I would love to go up north Labor Day because I saw it. I'm like, oh, I remembered you speaking so highly of going up to Penfin. So tempted, but I think seeing you Friday at the Shania Twain is going to have to suffice.
That'll be it. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. If you can grab Faith, we'll just run down to the Clown Lounge. You all can sing to me there.
We can do it. You can do it. Yeah, an acoustic version of it.
Get down there quickly. Yeah. Awesome.
I have not been to the Turf now for like 2 years or so, or when did I go? I think maybe it was back when I was back in the beginning of 2020, but have you been there since it's been remodeled and reworked in it, or, spruced back up? How's it looking?
Looks like fancy floors. I don't know if they still look fancy because it was just like, wow. I could only tell the difference in the floors. I think that's the only thing
The floors are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. Clown Lounge. Otherwise, it does. As Heather says, it looks exactly the same. It looks like the day you're going to sell your house. You do the floors. So everything looks a little cleaner. The Clown Lounge needs to age a little bit.
Yeah, they need to let people go down there and smoke or something for a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Maybe get a team in there to just do it. It's great. It's nice down there, but it's it's just a little. It's a little too clean.
Like too clean, yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of it. But
all that sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It looks I'm amazed at what they could do after that had been flooded.
Yeah.
After all of the riots up there. So they do a good job. Ben, thank you for coming to talk to us. Tell folks how they can find you.
Let's see, the Federales you can find. I bet if you Google Federales Minneapolis, you can find us, but we're federalesmpls.com. And solo stuff on flowersbrothers.com. Since my name is way too common, I can't just have benjaminmiller.com. It's already taken. And on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all those kind of places and all the streaming places, we are out there.
That's good. Well, we look forward to seeing more. I really look forward to more videos. I have to say, I really, really liked the Try to Think video. I liked the Federalist one too. And you do such a nice job with them.
Oh, well, that's really good to hear. Because I feel like for myself and for the Federales, we've never had that much like video stuff, but that's like, you listen to music with your eyes a little bit, especially when at shows and stuff like that. And I technically I'm a video professional. That's what I do for a living. So it's nice to actually have stuff up, but it's hard to like do it for yourself. So it's nice to have like finally some actual like things that turned out really good.
Yeah. Well, I think that Try to Think especially is the timing is so perfect for the switch to animation. It really enhances it a lot.
I'm just thinking the finale of that is amazing. I can't believe like the way I won't spoil it. It's like a little bit of a surprise, but like she came up with it.
It's very good. It's very good. All right, we'll be sure to include a link to that one.
Yeah, everybody go watch it and
because it's worth it. So good. Ben, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, and so great to see you. And hopefully, I'll see you in person in a couple of days.
Yeah. Perfect.
Amazing.